Ohayou gozaimasu. Good morning from Japan. This is Gray from Wakazashi's Tea House. How are you doing? I hope you're good. I hope you're genki. Are you ready for some passion? Some passionate Shatner? I certainly am. Today we're going to be talking about the Star Trek original series episode The Enemy Within, written by Richard Matheson, great sci-fi writer. So, to help me on my journey today, I have It Can Only Be Him. It Can Only Be the one, the only Nerdporeal Lifeform. Let me bring him in. How you doing?
Good. How's everybody? How you doing, Gray? Are you Genki?
I am very genki, surprisingly, because I had a super late night last night for me. Probably I was in bed about 3 a.m. I went to bed.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
I was on a late night, not late night, well, for me, late night comic book stream on quite a big channel, so I was delighted to be part of that. But anyway, enough waffling from me. Let's shout out the chat. We have Joseph Dredd here. Great to see you. Dempsey, of course. Mate, I really appreciate Dempsey. You're always there for me. Have you seen this episode? I'd be curious to know. No way, Salty Travelling Sea. I order you to take a number 2. Zax is here. We have Jacob Ironside looking good. I missed somebody earlier as well. Oh, we also have StreamYard example comments. And Daniel, looking forward to Dr. Indecisive and Mr. Hansi. Nerdporeal. What do you think about that comment?
Oh, that was great. That's great. But you want me to read the press release from September
Yes, please.
1966? All right, here it goes. A malfunction in the transporter room of the USS Enterprise turns Captain Kirk into a Jekyll and Hyde in The Enemy Within on Star Trek NBC Television Network Colorcast of Thursday, October 6th. While being beamed aboard his spacecraft from another planet at what is normally a routine operation, the commander is the victim of an electrical failure that literally transforms him into 2 Captain Kirks. The Enterprise is threatened with complete chaos when the 2 personalities, identical in appearance, but opposites in behavior and intellect, vie in nightmarish conflict for control of the ship. Lieutenant Sulu and a landing party, meanwhile, are stranded on a barren world where the nighttime temperatures drop so low as to make survival impossible. With the transporter out, the officers of the Enterprise are unable to depend on their captain and are running out of time to find a way to save the men left behind.
Nobody gets left behind.
No,
That's a great introduction. I love it. Yeah, as you know, Nerdporeal, my Star Trek knowledge is very, very low. I bow down to your lore, but for me, this was a huge surprise because it's an early episode, but I was pulled in by the performances, especially William Shatner as Kirk, playing 2 Kirks.
I agree. I totally agree. The positive, the normal, well, not the normal, but the positive Kirk, the indecisive Kirk. That was such a great moment. Like, you felt for him. Like you looked at him and you saw someone that was missing like a core component of what he needs to function. But he he's just the fact that he was losing his ability to command is a heartbreaking thing. And it's something that really established the captaincy in Star Trek, And that came from Gene Roddenberry himself, because he was a World War II veteran. He was in the military. He knew what it was like to command. And the first thing is, you cannot appear to be anything less than perfect. If you don't, you lose command. And if they lose faith and you lose command, that's directly from Spock when Kirk says, I should tell the crew what happened. They're a good crew. They deserve to know. And he's like, no. Spock's like, no, you can't do that. Now with New Trek, everybody
be telling him, wouldn't they, what to do? No, you have to do this, you have to do that. No, that's a great point, Napoleon. That's something I really, really enjoyed in this, the way they explored that. It's like you've got supposedly the animalistic, the darker side of Kirk and the lighter side, but he needs both to function. He needs both to be a commanding captain. He can't lose the command. So, great.
That's true. And that was one of the rewrites that Mr. Roddenberry added, I think, at the very last minute. So This episode originally started, this was something Richard Matheson himself came up with. So I don't know if you guys know the history. I've talked about this on streams. Roddenberry invited a bunch of famous sci-fi writers, authors, to a screening of Where No Man's Gone Before. If you don't know what that is, that's the second pilot. So the first pilot was called The Cage, that featured Jeffrey Hunter as Captain Pike. But where No Man's Gone before was the first time we see, William Shatner as Kirk, James Doohan as Scotty, George Takei, as Sulu. And of course we get, Mr. Spock again, slightly less emotional, but still, screams, commands and everything. But Richard Matheson was one of those writers that, that Roddenberry wanted to, to lock in, for writing the series. And so he got the memo, he got the Bible, I believe, and he was interested in the transporter. He's like, what if I create a Jekyll and Hyde type story with the transporter, using that magical transporter? And that's where this episode really truly began. And then things later that were added were the B plot with Sulu on the planet with the, to raise the stakes. The whole positive Kirk losing his command was added additionally as well. Originally it was just normal Kirk, and then there was evil Kirk that they had to get rid of, they had to vanquish. But they added that depth to having them to be complete opposites, to the point where they needed each other to, survive. They needed to be reintegrated into each other, which is ultimately what happens. I thought that was perfect.
Me too. Really, really well written episode, and it's great to get your take on that. I didn't know the kind of not the rewrites, but the different input that different writers have had on that. So Gene Roddenberry was adding things to Richard Matheson's script. Yeah, I see.
Yeah, and Richard Matheson was like such a rock star in that industry. Like, he was arguing with Roddenberry constantly. He's like, Gene, come on, dude. I've worked with Rod. I've worked with Rod Serling. And I'm like, Rod didn't care. Like, Rod let me do what I wanted to do. And Gene was like, no, I'm the boss. Gene's like, I'm the boss, and there has to be consistency with this series as opposed to the Twilight Zone, which was more loose because of the, it was way more anthological than Star Trek was. People call Star Trek an anthology. In some ways it's true, but in some ways it isn't. Like, to me, an anthology is where you have episodes that have, they're kind of unrelated to each other. I mean, they have an equivalent tone, I guess, and style, which, like Twilight Zone, for instance, but most of the episodes were kind of unrelated. I mean, they were different. Every episode had different actors, different characters, different situations, different genres. Some were horror, some were sci-fi, some were fantasy, some were westerns, some were gangster. There was a great gangster episode of The Twilight Zone where the gangster thinks he's in the afterlife, or he's in the afterlife. He thinks he's in heaven, but he's actually in hell. When he's locked in a hotel, and everybody's like letting him win and doing everything. He's like, I want to go to hell where everybody else is. They're like, you are in hell. He's like, screw. He's like, oh,
so before we went live, you were telling me that Richard Matheson wrote 2 Twilight Zone episodes that Shatner starred in. Is that right? He wanted to work with Shatner?
Mm-hmm. So everybody knows the terror at 50,000 feet. Everybody knows that one. I mean, you've seen that classic one. You've seen the movie version with John Lithgow. Everybody knows that one. That's like, I think, the most. I don't know if you agree. Do you think that's the most popular Twilight Zone episode of all time?
Wow, it's difficult to say because I'm not that clued up on it, but it's one of the ones, definitely. Yeah, it's one of the most famous ones, isn't it? Like the gremlin on the plane, on the wing, chewing up the engine. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But there was a second episode that Shatner was in that he also wrote. So
okay,
I haven't seen that one, but it was I forget what that one was about. But so he wrote those, and like you said, he wrote I Am Legend, and he wrote the Incredible Shrinking Man. I think he wrote a bunch of other television. Like, he was like I said, he was a rock star.
He's written all sorts. I've read his. He wrote a really good, little bit of a sexy 70s style horror novel called Hell House. That was very popular.
Oh.
As you say, I Am Legend, Incredible Shrinking Man. He wrote some episodes of Kolchak, the Night Stalker, things like that. Yeah, he's done loads of work, hasn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So we also have Purple Valkyrie here, Nerdporeal. Great to see you. I hope you're good. Hope you're Genki. Have you seen this episode? What do you think of the fantastic beehive hairstyle of... Is it
that was a wig. That was actually a wig.
Is that a wig?
There were points where the wig fell off during the scuffle, the rape scene, or the attempted rape scene. Sorry, not rape scene, the attempted rape scene. So
yeah,
they were really concerned about that, like getting that past the censors. So they had to like really rework it several times to get it just good enough. so that it wouldn't. But the thing was, it still upset audiences. When I first saw that scene, I think I was 12 or 13. I was like, holy crap! I did not expect something like this to be in a 60s TV show. I was like, whoa! Like I was taken aback. Like he's trying to kiss her. He's grabbing her. He's trying to kiss her. He's trying to run from him. He knocks her on the ground. He's on top of her, and then she scratches his face, and then he picks her up and throws her down. And then of course that's when the Fisher, the geological technician who was the reason why the transporter broke in the first place, he was there. She's like, get Mr. Spock, and then he runs and tries to call him on the intercom, but bad Kirk was too fast and knocked his ass out. Yeah.
Sorry, just trying to share that. I was just muting myself while I do. Yeah, so as you said, Nerdporeal, I was very surprised by the intensity of this scene. We talk about it. It's very physical. I mean, of course, you don't see anything. He gets stopped in time, but it's still a very violent scene. And you feel it. You feel like the Shatner's giving it his all. And she's genuinely shocked, I think, by that performance, isn't she? You can see it in her face.
Oh, yeah. Like, he just grabs her, like, stop pretending, because throughout the last one of the things going on in this early part of season 1 was Kirk. They're attracted to each other, but yet because the fact that he's the captain and she's the yeoman, that they can't really fraternize. And so when he's just like when she's just like she was going into further detail about her report, he's like, thank you, yeoman, and tells her to he basically dismisses her and everything. So and it was just that little subtext right there that just makes this original series, the reason why it managed to make 40 years of good Star Trek. 40 years.
Absolutely.
1966 to 2000, 2005 technically. So
is that when you rate it up till you count it until then? Until
the end of Enterprise. Because everything after that, the reinvention takes it too far. It takes away what makes Trek distinctive and special in the first place. Like, I'm sorry, but these new Trek shows right now, and I'm sorry, Picard season 3 is one of them, still has that issue with just stealing modern ideas and not even bothering to really explore what made Star Trek distinctive in the first place.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough.
My favorite word is gravitas right now. The gravitas is gone. Like the theatrical performances and the set design, the camera work, and the music. In this case, this episode was composed by Sol Kaplan. I think Sol is short for Solomon. Sol Kaplan, and the music here in this scene, this attempted rape scene, is just I play in my head all the time. Da 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 do 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 do. It's so dramatic. It's so dramatic, but so like it. Exactly how to feel when you hear the music here. This you would think this was a Fred Steiner score, but the Sol Kaplan. The original music that was made for this episode is stellar. It's stellar. So you want to listen to some good, there's Alexander Courage, Fred Steiner, and Sol Kaplan. Those are the three big composers, in my opinion, for the original series. There's quite a few others. There's Joseph Mullendore. There's there's others. I can't think of them. The one that did Shore Leave, I can't think of it. So.
Nerdporeal, in the chat we have Jacob Ironside shouting you out. How are you doing, Nerdporeal? Great to see KC Charlie chats. He was saying it's great to be here. Hail all. Yeoman Rand, played by Grace Lee Whitney. Yeah, sorry, I made a mistake. I called her Nurse Chapel. That was Majel Barrett, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Completely mixed up.
Yeah, they fired Grace Lee Whitney and kept Majel Barrett for reasons.
Oh, really? They fired her, did they?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
She was fucking Gene Roddenberry. Oops, excuse me.
That's all right. We're 15 minutes in. No worries. No, probably I want to bring up this. This is probably one of the memorable, not scenes, but one of the most memorable characters in the first season of original series is this bizarre unicorn dog. Now, what was this all about?
So the point of the scene was to explain to the audience what was going on. Now, this was back in the. I don't know if this was in the original script. Maybe it was, but this was just meant to say, hey, what's going on here is that this is not an evil. This is not a like clone or a duplicate. This is an opposite. This was their way of telling the audience what was really going on. That he wasn't a duplicate, he was an opposite, and they showed the dog as an example. And of course, they used the dog as another reason to raise the stakes, because you know what you don't do, even with alien dogs, you don't kill them. And the transporter killed it when they tried to reintegrate the positive dog and the good dog, the positive dog and the negative dog. The dog died. And they're like, oh no, the stakes are high. What's going to happen? Kirk's going to die, you know. But what the dog did not have? The dog did not have the intellect to handle the reintegration or reunification. Oh, name drop.
Oh, look at that. That was au naturel. That was awesome.
Without any Romulans. Without any Romulans.
Yeah. Just let me shout out Nerdporeal Daniel. Thank you so much, Daniel, for gifting a membership. I think Jacob Ironside got it. So please drop those waffles in the chat, the stickers when we start going off on one. Because it's usually me waffling, but I love it when Nerdporeal gets passionate about what we consider to be real Star Trek. You know, they call it the original series for a reason, because this is original. And Nerdporeal, after watching Picard, the other day and talking about it with you, you know I'm being very positive about that. But when I watched this morning in preparation for the stream, this episode, it doesn't compare. I'm sorry to say that. Okay, you could argue this is a very memorable episode. It's a great performance, good writing, but this is only the 5th episode they made, and it's fantastic.
Yeah. What's funny is it's the 5th production episode, but it's also the 5th aired episode. So this was aired after Naked Time, a week after the Naked Time came out. So on October 6th of 1966. So it's the only time where the production number matches the order number, I think. So there you go. So that's another thing that makes this episode special.
Absolutely. And low spec, you're right. Ain't nothing like the real thing, baby. There we go.
Ain't nothing like the real thing. Sorry. Don't want to get you copyright. Now this part, I'm Captain Kirk. It's because positive Kirk or indecisive Kirk is on the bridge and he's telling the crew without saying who he is. He's like, we have an imposter on board that's pretending to be me. You can tell the imposter by scratches on his face. Repeated. You can tell by scratches on his face. And he gets pissed off. He's like, I'm Captain Kirk. Who the hell are you? And what's funny is for a second, I thought he was, when I was a kid and I was watching this, I thought he was lying, but no, he is Captain Kirk. He's just the darker side. He's just the darker side, the one that has the ones that makes decisions, the one that shows strength and everything, can give orders, be the boss, be the monster, as a certain Canadian famous psychology professor would say, if you know who I'm talking about. First name nope. Jordan.
Okay, really, Mr. Peterson. Yeah, this is what I really enjoyed about this. It's not that they created like a dark universe style of Kirk, which happens later, doesn't it? It wasn't like that. It's the fact that this is Kirk. They're both Kirk, and they both need each other to work, to function properly. The way they show Shatner, the good side, the lighter side, slowly, losing his strength of will. He's like almost unconscious at times, isn't he? He's like staggering around the ship. That's such a great idea. Such a great way of showing that. You need the dark part of yourself. You have to be able to master it, of course, but you do need that, don't you, Nerdporeal?
Yeah, I think so too. You need that, but at the same time, I think, and you might disagree with this, but I think Shatner's acting was a little too over the top in this episode. Not this particular scene. I actually really I like
Look at his face.
But it's like when he's in bed and he's like, like that.
Yeah, that scene was funny.
Like
that was
I'm
actually
just like,
yeah.
I went for my brother and I watched it one time. We were just laughing our asses off, you know, at Bill Shatner's, Mr. Shatner's performance there. Like he couldn't even scream. He's trying to do a high pitch and he failed because, you know. So it was ridiculous. And then of course when he's like, I want to live, they do it like such a close up too. I want to live. But the best part was the opening, how they introduced Bad Kirk in the first place.
Extreme close up on the eyes, and it looked like they put like eyeliner on his eyes as well, didn't they, to really enhance that weird look. Definitely.
Yeah, they did.
But look at his face in Nerdporeal. You got to say, he's like a different character. He's just changed his expression so much.
Somebody made it like a meme or like a clip saying, "Oh, Chris Pine's playing Captain Kirk," and then they cut to this saying, "No, I'm Captain Kirk."
I am Captain Kirk.
Yeah. This part is very important to the franchise itself. Part of the reason why I feel the enemy within we should be discussed amongst us.
Please tell us why this is important, and is this the first time we see this on screen?
To answer that question, let's get into some, you know, let's get into the context here. So Mr. Nimoy was not a big fan of violence, especially he really wanted this series to be distinctive from Westerns. So what happened was in the script, what originally was supposed to be done was, you know, the Kirk. So once again, they built the engineering section here for this episode. This is the very first time we see this version of engineering. So the engineering that people mostly think of with the original series, I think actually started in season 2. You know, with you have the railing above, and then you have the fenced off warp core and everything. Here, the engineering section was different. There was a different design, but that's how they got Matt Jeffries and everything. So they go into engineering, and they have to corner, you know, evil Kirk. Positive Kirk figures out where would he hide, because it's basically him. Where would he hide to elude a mass search? Engineering. So the good Kirk corners, or bad Kirk tries to ambush Kirk, and they have their little thing. And then Spock, of course, you know, does the Vulcan pitch, but originally was supposed to hit him on the head with the phaser. But, you know, hit him on the head, crack his head open. And Nimoy didn't like that. So he brought this up to the director, who was Leo Penn, you know, Sean Penn's father, you know, Chris Penn, you know, from Reservoir Dogs 2. And he had him and Shatner demonstrated the technique to Penn, and Penn approved it. The thing was, they didn't get Roddenberry's permission, so they did this without them knowing. So they kind of
really.
I don't remember if they got in trouble for it, but I'm sure they probably got chewed out.
Do you think they got a talking to?
Roddenberry definitely probably chewed them out, but you know, yeah. But so this is the very first time we get the famous Spock nerve pitch, the FSNP, as fans call it. So
I didn't know that acronym. That's cool. What's that? The
SNP, the famous Spock nerve pinch, or I think they call it the famous Vulcan nerve pinch later.
Oh, I'm gonna put that in the chat.
Yeah,
FSNP. It sounds like a group or something, doesn't it, Paul? The FNSP. It's a new party. We're going to take over the country.
Yeah, it could be a rock band too. You know,
it could. Hey, Nosferatu, great to see you, mate. I hope you're good. Look at these Star Trek nerds.
Yeah, that's right.
I'd rather be a Star Trek nerd than a Picard nerd. Oh my god, a real Star Trek.
Now, I just need to tell you, Gray, don't let us. You know, I still need you to bring that positivity. I need you to see things that we don't. I mean, I'm gonna try and see the positive. I'm gonna try my hardest to see some of the positive stuff next time. So I need that fixed. Great. I need that positive.
I think you don't rewatch it. I don't want to
crush you. I don't want to crush you. I don't want to crush you.
No, you're good. You're good. No one can crush my positivity.
There you go.
Maybe Well, apart from Nosferatu. No, I'm joking. Let's have a look at Daniel. Nerdporeal. Wait a minute. Is he trying to say Roddenberry didn't like people meddling with his creation without his permission?
That's absolutely right. So seeing all these producers on Picard and all the new Trek shows, heck, seeing his son Eugene Roddenberry, or Rod Roddenberry. Jesus. I did nearly bump into him at a convention once.
Really?
Yeah. He's avoiding everybody. And so, yeah, just, typical.
Okay, Nerdporeal, can I get your thoughts on this? We have this subplot going on, don't we, with poor old Sulu. What the heck's happening here?
So because of the transporter, because now that the transporter is malfunctioning, so whenever somebody comes aboard, they are going to duplicate into an opposite. They don't dare, as Scotty says, they don't dare beam up Sulu and the rest of the landing party. So that happens because Fisher, the one that Kirk beats up, Fisher in the very beginning of this episode has a fall. He falls on like a rock slide and he has all this, like, he injures his hand and he has all this yellow ore on him, and it's a magnetic ore. So when they beam him up, like the something ends up going wrong with the transporter, and they don't know exactly what it is, but they beam Kirk aboard, and then Kirk, then the transporter beams up evil Kirk, and that's where you get the beginning. So they didn't want to do this with them. So because this was before they had the shuttlecraft, and there's a reason why they don't have secondary craft or shuttlecraft in this episode, they added this B plot, which is something Richard Matheson thought was stupid, because to kind of up the stakes here. And I think this one was hit or miss. So so they're stuck on the planet. And at night, the planet goes all the way to 120 degrees below zero. I'm like, really? Yeah. I'm like, really? Seriously? I mean, he's just like, oh, we're 20 degrees below zero. I'm like, dude, you'd be shaking. You wouldn't just be shivering. You'd be shaking if you were just wearing a single, I don't even know, that cotton, Starfleet uniform, 23rd century uniform. I'd be colder than that.
Yeah.
George, oh my
God, Daniel, just making me laugh in the chat.
You know what? It makes sense. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's what happened. Maybe that's why life turned out that way for him.
If you notice, Nerdporeal, in the photo, look how they've got the two guys behind him have got the pulling the blanket away from him. He's leaving. Okay, you'll be okay, Sulu. We'll leave you on your own.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't let him in with us.
I think the guy on the left is that's Eddie Paskey, Mr. Leslie. He usually plays Kirk. Usually plays Kirk's doubles or something.
Oh, he's double. Okay.
He plays one of them. There's like a stunt guy. I forget the name of the one that was his stunt double, or his double in this episode. It wasn't him though. But yeah, like here. So this is like the first time you see them heat rocks with the phasers and.
Yeah, I enjoyed that actually. It's like, oh, look at that, Sulu blasting a rock, and then they're gathering round it like round a cigarette end.
Yeah, there was only one other episode that did that, and that was actually in Spock's brain in season 3 when Chekhov was ordered to wait above on the Ice Age planet where they go down below and they find Spock's brain and the crazy alien women with high mascara and sexy costumes and everything. To steal it. It was the one where they had the bracelet, and whenever they hit the bracelet, it makes the sound that causes all the men to be knocked out and everything. So that's what they used to do in that episode. But we're not talking about Spock's brain.
I haven't rewatched that yet, but I remember that from childhood. How bonkers that episode is.
They made fun of that episode in the Wonder Years, and what's funny was in that same episode, the gym teacher is played by Robert Picardo, who plays the Voyager EMH, the emergency medical hologram. So it's funny. Yeah. It's so funny. It's just so funny when you think about that. So, but yeah. Look at George Takei. He's cold. Look at that frozen dude.
He's been in the icebox, I think, and for a while there. Poor old George.
Yeah, it stinks. But yeah, this was added, and so my question, maybe the chat knows, was. When they beamed them aboard, I don't think they fixed the transporter. So did they duplicate off screen and then reintegrate because with Kirk they fixed it, or maybe they fixed it before? And I don't remember. So
I've got a question from Daniel Nerdporeal about Spock's brain. He's asking, is it the worst episode of the series?
no, 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 no. I
Okay.
like. I mean, I'll say this. I have a bias because it was the second tape I own along with Space Seed, so I have fond memories of the episode. But I've seen worse episodes than Spock's brain in that season alone. So,
Okay.
like, Young Children Shall Lead is probably the worst episode of the series. Episodes with kids in Star Trek just don't work, in my opinion.
I would have gotten away with it. It wasn't for you pesky kids. Okay, nice one. Just wanted to get a close-up on the beautiful. Again, you have to remind me of the actress's name. The beautiful.
Grace Lee Whitney.
Grace Lee Whitney. It's a shame that she didn't, they didn't keep her on the series longer.
Yeah, her last episode was The Conscience of the King, which was episode 13, and she only had a very small role. Like, she just, she had a single, moment where she steps out of the turbo lift and sees Kirk and Lenore Caridian walking in. And that was the only time we see her. But this episode was a very strong episode for her, and the other episode that was really strong for her was Mary. The episode 12. That was one with kids as well.
Oh.
But and the kids were annoying, but the performances of her and DeForest Kelley and the adult actors were great. No bonk bonk on the head.
That's why I was saying Godporeal hates children is confirmed. It's a joke.
And he's trying to bait me into saying I like kids because that's weird too.
Oh, that's good. You second guessed him. You outplayed him with the old 4D chess there, Nerdporeal. Nice one. Where are we? We got Daniel saying, I had such a ridiculous crush on Yeoman Rand and was so upset she wasn't in more episodes. I wanted her to end up with Kirk at the end. I'm a silly romantic.
I liked. I honestly I like her way more than Majel Barrett.
Yeah,
Majel Barrett was not a great actress.
No.
Like,
good voice.
Oh yeah, very sexy voice. She was the assistant, but I think Grace Lee Whitney's way more attractive than her. And what's funny was she's older than her too, and she's way more attractive.
Oh.
It explains why Charlie X goes after her. He's like, he sees her, he's like, holy crap, dude! Like, I want this. I am an all powerful teenager. I am going to have her. And that was basically the episode Charlie X right there. So, but like it was, I thought it was, there's a story about her that I read. I forgot where I read it, but she was struggling to act. She was struggling to find acting work in the 70s.
Oh. And
she was at the unemployment office because back then, you had to go to the unemployment office in order to, file for unemployment in California. And DeForest Kelley saw her there. And he told her, like, you don't have to be here. Like, you don't need to be here because we've been doing conventions that will help you. That'll help support you. So she started going to every single Star Trek convention because conventions became a big thing in the 70s.
Right.
And she was able to stay. She was able to support herself for just attending those things because let's be honest, the 70s when Star Trek got syndicated, created so many fans in young kids, especially kids who were born in the 60s, young one of the younger boomers. It started becoming big amongst them, and then Gen Xers later on, especially in the 80s. So it was great that when the movies came about. I mean, I wish they would have given her a bigger role in the movies, but the fact that they actually had her in like 4 of the movies was awesome. I mean, she was in the motion picture. She actually had a single line. She has a couple of lines. She was the transporter technician during that very, very unsettling scene with the transporter in the motion picture. She says, "Oh my God, they're forming!" And then, there was a Commander Sonak dies. The Vulcan. Spoiler alert. The science officer, the Vulcan science officer that Kirk wanted.
That shocked me as a kid watching it. Very young when I first saw it. That scene. I never forget the screaming as well.
The first 2 Star Trek films had like this scream, like they had this unsettling scream, like you heard it in the motion picture in the transporter, but then what they did in Wrath of Khan, what scream really got me in Wrath of Khan, and when I first saw it, when they vaporized people, and I've said this multiple times, in the Wrath of Khan, And they've only done it in that movie. They've never done it after that. But when they vaporize people in the Wrath of Khan, you hear a high-pitched shriek.
No way.
A high-pitched shriek. So when they shoot, when Captain Terrell shoots one of the Genesis scientists, you hear that. And then when he shoots himself, you hear that again, that same shriek. It is unsettling.
I thought you were talking about Chekhov's scream when that thing goes in his ear.
Chekhov does scream, but that was not scary. But the scream that it was, I don't know how they made that. They created that sound, but that was so frightening. Like that, just when I was a kid, that unsettled me.
Yeah,
hearing that in Wrath of Khan, and then in the later movies, they kind of they didn't do any more. They didn't really add any other horror aspect. Like so you think Wrath of Khan's just big science fiction, revenge tale. Well, it is, but there were horror elements in that movie, and there was some tiny little bit of horror element in motion picture. So yeah, so I was glad to see her, and she wasn't in Wrath of Khan, but she was in Search for Spock in the space dock. Voyage Home, she was she was in Starfleet Command. Her and Majel Barrett. They were see them, but they're just kind of there in the background. You see them in a few shots, and that's it. And then she's in the Excelsior in Undiscovered Country, and in the Voyager episode Flashback, which takes you back to the events of Undiscovered Country on the Excelsior under Sulu, Captain Sulu's ship. But she had a bigger role in the Flashback episode. Like she was actually in command. She actually had dialogue. And she was great. She was great in that episode. And it's a shame she's no longer with us. I mean, if she was alive now, she'd be, I think, 90, 91, 92, or she'd be 92 or 93 years old now.
Oh, wow.
She was actually one of the older. She was older than almost everyone except for DeForest Kelley and James Doohan. Those two were like a decade older than the rest of them. Like those two were born in 1920, so they actually both of them served in World War II. I don't know if DeForest Kelley did. But I know James Doohan lost his finger in D-Day.
Nerdporeal, it's great you telling me that. I didn't realize that. Thanks to DeForest Kelley, he put her onto the convention circuit. Yes. And we've got Daniel saying, imagine those glory days to attend a convention with the original crew, get a photo with Grace Lee Whitney, when they were still young. Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine, they were really popular. Everybody was like that. But then when the movies came out, the gravitas behind their performances after seeing the movies, they were just they were gods. I mean, I'm not going to say godporeal, but I'm going to say they were practically god status at that point. Yeah. And Star Trek had this insane gravitas, and then Next Generation continued that. DS9 continued it. Heck, even people. I know some people don't like Voyager and Enterprise, but even those shows still continued that same feel, that Star Trek feel. Now you watch Star Trek, and it just seems like just a typical modern crappy television that is not very distinctive and just has bad dialogue. And it just the gravitas is gone. The cheesy, the bad dialogue, the rock music and everything, and the bad and the not so great writing. Just you lost something. You lost that distinction. I know I'm beating a dead horse, but that's how I feel. And this episode I mean with is a very important episode that really stuck out in the franchise. So. Legendary. Yeah. Word is legendary. Yeah, that's true too.
Did you enjoy Nerdporeal? Did you enjoy rewatching it? I mean, you probably don't even need to watch it.
Episode one, I enjoyed rewatching of season 3, but episode 2.
No, sorry, I mean this one. The Enemy
this one?
Within.
I've seen this so millions of times.
So many times,
not millions of times, but I've seen this.
I bet you can quote lines from this episode easily, can't you?
I mean, I got something right here. So here's a good one. We all have our dark. This is McCoy to Kirk. We all have our darker side. We need it. Men, women, all of us need both halves. It's half our humanity. It's not ugly. It's human. God forbid I should have to agree with Spock, but he's right. Without the negative half, you wouldn't be captain. The strength of command is mostly in him. The mental discipline to keep it under control, that he gets from you. Because he's talking to good Kirk and everything. So, yeah.
That was great writing. These are great moments, and when you talked about Spock, when Spock was telling Jim, don't announce it to the crew. You have to maintain you're a captain. You got to maintain the discipline here. They won't respect you if you say they think you're weak.
Yeah, I mean, like in the better YouTubers have said this. The writer, Mr. Roddenberry himself, they had this thing called life experience, where they've
Yeah.
they've incorporated things that they had. They incorporated aspects of their lives and things that they could relate to, and they put it in the episode to make it more believable, to make it more relatable. And that's why this series has withstood the test of time. And I'm getting younger people. I'm getting younger. I mean, I'm cheering on younger people who are watching the series. So I've been talking to this one guy, Golden Age Geek. He's watched it. He's watched the original show already. He's watching continues at my recommendations. So yeah, he's really enjoyed our talks, and he wants to talk about it more. And I'm getting Angry Canadian to watch. I gave him a couple of episodes already. So
Nice one.
So,
the new generation, the next generation Nerdporeal.
Yeah, but without random kids that never existed, like Jack Crusher. Excuse me.
Oh God, I know. As Joseph Dredd said, in Star Trek Picard, you get the sassy bridge crew as well. Oh, it's not as bad as it was, for answering back and questioning and f-bombing on the bridge. Oh my God.
I like
Discovery.
I like Geordi LaForge's daughter, but like her saying, "Oh, they threw a ship at us," I'm like, if you were watching an older Trek show, they wouldn't be talking. They wouldn't be saying stupid stuff like that. The audience is not stupid. They know. And plus, throwing a ship. Why did they even do that? But that we're not here to talk about Picard.
No. Where are we, Nerdporeal? I need to drop one of my clips, but I don't have it handy. Oh well, too slow, too late.
By the way, this is like the nerdiest shirt I have. Like I bought this for like 2 years ago, going to like a nerd meetup and everything. So I got like all the ships here, DS9's like right here. God. Here's the Enterprise and everything. So yeah, this has got all the ships right here. So this is one of my favorite shirts I'm wearing right now, and I can actually fit in it now. So that's another
awesome. So you got Daniel and Nosferatu saying that you're getting them all pumped up with your passion for Star Trek. That's so cool to hear. Yeah.
But I want people. Part of the reason why I started my channel was I wanted people to, because most people I've been talking to, especially younger people, have only seen the JJ stuff, and like that's not Star Trek. I mean, it's an action vehicle that calls itself Star Trek that they're trying to make appealing to the masses.
Yeah.
I mean, Star Trek is very niche for audiences that like a well-told story. It's something that will challenge their views, and perhaps food for thought. I mean, I'm not the first person that said it. A lot of people have been saying this for a while, even Robert Meyer Burnett. And as much as I feel the way I do about episode 2, I'm going to keep watching it because maybe there will be a payoff that happens. But I mean, I still respect Robert Meyer Burnett and his optimism, because he's been very critical of New Trek, and like I said, and like he said, watch it and see for yourself. You don't have to watch it; you don't have to take his word for it. So, yeah. So I like everybody that's joined us on Thursday. Thank you for watching it with me, and for taking that for feeling my pain. While also listening
your pain.
Yeah, Steve is reining in my Trekkie-ism. At least that's what I call it. So he's been like keeping me grounded and like what makes sense and what doesn't. So because I'll be honest, he can spot it better than I can. Like from watching, like I'll be paying attention. I'm trying to pay attention to the dialogue, and he's like saying, why are they doing this? He's asking like, why are they doing this? What is the point of this? And that's a good thing to have. So that's part of the reason why I have Steve on that, and he's my streaming bra.
He is, I know, and no, you need that sometimes, don't you? Because we, people who are passionate about things, maybe you could say we watch things with bias. It can't be helped. But when you've got a neutral watching it and pointing out the plot holes, the problems with the writing, the things that don't make sense.
Yeah.
Some people might say, "Oh no, don't bring me down, don't pull me out of it." But no, you need that. You need to question what they're doing. So yeah, shout out to Steve, and Leia Rose is in the chat. Great to see you as well. Awesome one. Everyone loves your shirt, Nerdporeal. Pacific 414, great to see you, man. Thanks for dropping in
here. What's up, Mike?
That's a sweet shirt. So we're not going to go on too long today, Nerdporeal. We're going to wrap up soon. So as a kind of closing thoughts, summary, I'm sure you would recommend this episode for people who haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, this is a very great episode. This is an episode with high stakes. and it's very, very deep. Like it went from being a simple Jekyll and Hyde type of episode to something more. And this is pretty much one of the reasons why I recommended we talk about this particular episode, is because this is very important to the franchise. The franchise, because of episodes like this, has been given a lot of depth in its writing. Now this was added due to several rewrites. So the whole Kirk, positive Kirk and negative Kirk, them being opposites, was an addition. Spock, being more nonviolent with subduing the negative, the more aggressive Kirk. I wouldn't even say negative. I wouldn't even say negative Kirk. The more aggressive Kirk would probably be the better thing. And of course they made the aggressive Kirk originally just an idiot, if he was one aspect of the psyche, he'd be the id aspect of the psyche. But they made him a lot more complicated than that. He was intelligent too. He had Kirk's. He knew how to make decisions. He knew how to get what he wanted. Like he had that one. He's like, Wilson, give me your phaser. He knew the crew. He had the same knowledge of the ship. That was something that was also added. So hence you get the famous engineering scene, and rest is history. Famous Spock nerd pinch, you got it. But there was a funny moment, and I wanted to part ways on this. I don't know if this was Nimoy being a dick or Spock being a dick, because there were points, especially in the early episodes, where Spock would say say something so stupid, or they're not stupid, but so like he would make a joke. He made a pretty he what he says to Yeoman Rand at the very end of the episode, and he's kind of mumbling it, like when she's giving him like a report or something he has to sign off on. While he's signing, he's like, hey, well, Yeoman, that the other Kirk had some very interesting qualities. And then she takes the report and just gives him the dirtiest of looks and walks away. And he smirks. That was
such a weird scene. That really stood out for me. Yeah, at the end.
I'm like, what?
Who wrote that? That's not Spock.
Oh, I'm like, what? What is going? I don't know if that was Nimoy. I'm like, what the hell is this? I didn't pick this up when I was a kid, but I'm watching this as an adult, and it's funny.
Was he hitting on it? Do you think he was in his Spock way with that? Was like, very interesting.
No, it was just like maybe. I don't know. Maybe he just thought his Vulcan, being logical. Maybe he just thought the whole thing was interesting, and she's just like. Like, screw you, dude, and just he gives him that dirt like that. Screw you, dude. And she
but the way he said it, it wasn't like it wasn't the passion-free logical Spock. He was like insinuating something.
Yeah, he was like he was fucking with her, and it was just
he was fucking with her.
I'm just like, whoa. This is 60s. This is the 1960s. Like, dude, like.
As Daniel's saying in the chat there, that interchange is from the good old days when men could be openly wolfish towards women.
Yeah, toxic masculinity,
No, masculinity. And also, Daniel's saying Nerdporeal. I love the way that you're making that distinction between negative and aggressive Kirk. It wasn't about good versus evil. It was about passion versus reservation.
Yeah,
great.
That's an even better take. Yeah, the aggressive, the negative Kirk was the more passionate, and reserved. Yeah, the other one was reserved and intellectual was the other one. So.
Okay, that's awesome. Oh my God, just before we finish, what are you doing, Zax? You star. Thank you. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Smash or pass, evil Captain Kirk. You had to go there, Zax, did you?
Okay, so what do you say, Gray? What do you say?
Let me bring up a photo first. I'll be 2 ticks. I've got a really cool
eyeliner. He's got that sexy eyeliner on. Come on, let's hear this.
Okay, here we go. Let me just share this. See if it works. Wait till you see this. Actually, it's not. This is when he first comes out, isn't it? So he's not got the eyeliner here, but look at that. Look at the shadows. Look at the angle.
Look at that. Look at that. Look at the soft background, and then you got the eyeliner. Look at that eyeliner. Look at that hair, or that wig, as George Takei always says. Look at that. Look at that sexy. Look at that sexy Shat. Look at that sexy evil Kirk. Smash, definitely.
That's right. Saying smash. Joe
Oh
Dredd.
my!
Yeah. Awesome one, Cash, not
Cash.
Smash. Thank you. Oh man. TLC eyeliner 2. TLC. Oh, the smoky eyes, says Jacob. Yeah. Man, look at him though. I mean, he was a good-looking dude. He might have been a bit short, but he was a good-looking dude when he was young. And he's aged very well, like a fine wine, Nerdporeal.
Yeah. He's 90. He's going to be 92 in March, in late March. He's a week older than Nimoy. Like they're both born a week from each other. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
What's his secret?
He's vegetarian. I mean, he's a vegetarian. And he's been through some serious shit. Like he suffered. He used to smoke quite a bit. He was an alcoholic at some points. He lost his second or third wife. His third wife drowned. Noreen Kidd. I remember hearing about that one day. And I mean, he just keeps busy. He keeps working. He still hosts Wrath of Khan screenings. I went to one of them. I got a picture of myself with Mr. Shatner. Is he a dick in real life? Of course. And then plus he's a dick. He's a dick too.
Who isn't?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And he's a dick. And part of living long is you gotta be a dick. Don't take shit from people. Don't be a doormat. And you gotta be a asshole yourself. You can't give a shit about what everybody says. And yeah, I mean he's not thin like Stewart, but he doesn't talk like it. He doesn't talk like an old man like Patrick Stewart. He just talks normally. He was walking and talking on the stage for for almost 2 hours. At 90, he was 89 when I saw him at a Wrath of Khan screen, and seeing that movie Wrath of Khan in the theater is just amazing. It's so that movie. I mean, that movie is part of the reason that the gravitas exists with that and the motion picture really got that. So.
Absolutely. Shatner is in better shape than Stewart. Absolutely there, Daniel. I'm so sorry.
Shatner,
I've lost my voice.
Yeah, Shatner attacked Red Letter Media because they're hack frauds. Just kidding. No, Red Letter Media is Red Letter Media. They are the reason why a lot of YouTubers like me we kind of we derive our humor from them, and they're one of the earliest. Like they're really funny. Like they're probably one of the funniest channels out there. I don't agree with all their
jaded. They got a bit jaded now. Would you reckon?
I know. Yeah,
going so long,
guess,
aren't they?
I guess. I don't know. They call them. I mean, they're self-deprecating humor. They make fun of themselves.
Yeah.
Like poor Rich. Like there was one segment that made me laugh so hard. He's like, hey, wait. He's like, why are you late? I was like, I had to take my diabetes pills. And then Mike takes it from Rich, throws them down and steps on his diabetes pills. He's like, I need that to live. No, you don't need your fucking diabetes pills. And it's just like, I was like, that just came out of nowhere. I laughed so hard when I saw that. I don't know why. Maybe it's just I have juvenile humor. It's just
okay, this has been awesome. I don't want to keep you too long. I know you've got plans, so thank you, Nerdporeal, again for coming on. A great discussion about The Enemy Within, a fantastic episode. I wholeheartedly recommend it from my rewatch this morning. I loved it. I was really into it.
Daniels, you stopped supporting me. What'd I do?
I stopped supporting RLM probably around the same time as Nerdporeal stopped supporting RLM. He's talking about. I hate them. I
support what he says. I mean, I think he believes what he's saying. I just don't agree on the second episode. I mean, maybe the later episodes are decent. I don't know.
I haven't watched their reviews yet. I'm waiting.
I'm not watching any of their reviews. That's I'm not watching anybody's reviews. I'm just keeping this. I mean, I'm just keeping this. Just keeping this in the fam right now.
Yeah, that's keeping it in the family. Awesome one. I hear you, man. Yeah, I stopped watching when they started shilling. You could argue whether they are or not, but this has been a great show. Thank you, Daniel, Dempsey, Zax, awesome one, Jacob, who's still here. DJ Ronnie G was here as well. Great to see you, mate. And I missed that Stargate reference. Sorry. I didn't. That's one thing I've never watched, but I don't want to get into it now. Sorry, we've got to finish up. So again, thank you to Nerdporeal. Have you got any final words? What have you got coming up?
Enemy Within, great episode. Definitely a very important episode. Definitely watch it if you haven't seen it. what I got coming up? Well, tomorrow, this morning I finished the second Wheel of Time book, The Great Hunt. So we're going to be talking about The Great Hunt tomorrow. Me, Prophet, Nathan, Pips, and
Cool.
And the other awesome White Cloak who I had the honor to meet, Alex. That's going to be the 5 of us talking about the last 16 chapters of The Great Hunts. I powered through that this morning. Like I powered through it like a Nerdporeal would do.
Well
or a
done.
bad Nerdporeal would do. So there you go. But that's what I got coming up, and then I then pick the Picard stuff next week. I'm not sure if I'm going to do an episode 3 discussion. I might hold off for a week. I'll have to figure that out. But we're still going to do the live watch on Thursday. So yeah, episode 3 Picard. We're going to watch it. Hopefully it gets better. Hopefully. So
I hope so, because Alex was not happy. He's not happy about the series, is he? Man, I was. Yeah,
and Steve is just like this. He's like, this show sucks, dude. He's like, this show sucks, man.
Okay, again, thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I'll drop a very brief clip and then the closer. So just hang around for 2 minutes before you go. Have a quick chat in the studio.
Of course.
Good night or good morning, matane. Take it easy.
Stay Nerdporeal.
Stay Nerdporeal, and don't forget to go visit Wakizashi's dojo.
Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.